So if I were to ever create and build a park, there are certain things I would want to do for the employees. This is my list of top perks I'd want to do to give them the best work environment possible. Oh. I loved my time working at Busch Gardens, at Walt Disney World, and at Silver Dollar City. But having worked at all three of those companies and parks, I realized that there were certain things that each park did better than the others for their employees, certain things that each one excelled at for taking care of their employees. So here is a list of several things that, if I had my dream park, this is what I would like to see for the employees to make it the best possible environment for them. One of the very first things, one that gets assumed happens at a lot of parks and doesn't always, discounted food for the employees. Pretty much every park has at least one employee cafeteria, a place that employees can go eat when they're not working. What I found was that some were much better about making a good discount for the employees than others. Busch Gardens and Silver Dollar City, the food was inexpensive, you could eat cheaply, it was quick, and it was good. And I really liked that. It was probably one of my one disappointments at Disney was their backstage food for the cast members wasn't cheap. If you've got all those people working and you can take care of them, do it. Feed them inexpensively. I remember at Busch Gardens, I would go in and for like $3.50, I would get a big fried chicken breast and a side of corn, some bread, and my drink. And in Silver Dollar City, I could eat inexpensively like that as well. It was a really nice thing that if you had the time to get up to the cafeteria, you knew that you could eat pretty cheaply and get good food. Yeah, good food. The other thing, too, that kind of goes hand in hand with that is discounts on food in the parks. Busch Gardens and Disney, as an employee, you were not allowed to buy food in the park while you were working. Nobody in costume. Silver Dollar City did allow us to do that. We got a good discount on the food as a result. That was a nice thing. In fact, if you were working food service and they recognized you were working food service on that day, a lot of times they would even give you a free meal, not just a discounted one. Didn't always happen, depended upon who was working. But that was nice that you could depend upon that. Completely understand why Disney and Busch doesn't allow their employees to buy food or eat food on stage where guests can see you, but make more opportunities to have fresh food. Disney did do one thing really well, is that they had a multitude of small snack bars, cafeterias, and things like that. Every park has at least one major employee cafeteria, but there were always at least a couple other snack bar areas where you would have things like hot dogs and nachos and a few other things like that for sale as well. So you had opportunities and options where you could eat. And that was good to have a variety of different places, especially if you're a larger park. Silver Dollar City was small enough, just the one worked fine, but Busch Gardens had two, if I remember right. Have a variety of places for the employees to go take a break. And Breakrooms would really be number 2 on my list. This is something that Disney excelled at. There were a multitude of break rooms with tables, chairs, microwaves, refrigerators, TVs. Depending upon which break room, you may have sofas and games, a variety of other things. Several of them had the snack bars attached that I mentioned, and it made for a nice place that when you were not working to go take a break and relax. Not every park does as well on that. Even just something simple like bathrooms that employees can get to. This was one thing that I was actually a little surprised at Silver Dollar City, partially because of the age of the park and the way it was built up. They didn't have the chance to build some of that infrastructure for the people working. But it was nice at Disney and Busch to have a bathroom that the employees could go to and not have to wait in lines with the guests and everything else. We had our own private facilities that we could use. That was great. That was necessary. It was needed. So yeah, just having bathrooms available for the employees when they need. Big thing, some of your smaller parks and older parks aren't quite there on that one. But that's something. Give me good food, give me a place to sit down that's away from the guests, and give me a place to go potty. One of the other things that, for me, has really become more important over the years is your leadership. Generally speaking, working at a park, you have kind of a structure that goes something like you've got your employees working, you have a lead or something like that who is working with the employees but is kind of the one in charge. And then after that, you would have what would be a supervisor or a manager. And depending upon where you are, they may be over just your ride or attraction or kitchen or wherever it is you're working, or they may be over a variety of them. At Busch Gardens, we had our lead or our manager for the ride, and then we had a supervisor who covered several areas. Silver Dollar City was the same way. We had regular employees. You had your lead who was in charge of that small area of the park or that ride or couple of attractions, and then you had a manager or supervisor that was over them that was in charge of several. At Disney for PhotoPass, we had all of our photographers, we had our equipment room people, and then we had managers that kind of oversaw the operations for that day, and you could have one or two managers working at the same time. And we had a number of managers and then an overall manager. One of the things that I found really made a huge difference was when those managers or supervisors worked the rides. I had a couple in different spots, Busch Gardens notably, and then a couple of ours at Disney who had no clue what it was like to work on our rides or do photography because they never did it. Having somebody who actually worked on the rides, who did the job you're doing, who went out and took photos, made a huge difference in how they dealt even with you and understood what you were doing. How do you lead somebody if you don't have any clue what's involved in their job? I had to deal at Busch Gardens with my supervisor one time after my wreck backstage. That wasn't my fault. And this lady had no clue what it meant to be driving the Land Rovers or dealing with the guests because she never did it. She would show up once or twice a month at our area, kind of harangue us a little bit, and then disappear. I got harangued for this thing. I'm like, have you ever even sat in the driver's seat of one of the Land Rovers? How do you know what you can and can't see? It was very frustrating. We had a few managers at Disney, some that had come up from the photographer ranks so they knew what it was like. We had some that made it a point. They were supposed to go out once a month and shoot photos. And they made sure they had their day and they were out there shooting. And there were a couple of them that we loved to give a good ribbing to when they did it because it was fun to see them doing it. But we also had some that studiously avoided it and did everything they could to not have to do it. Guess who didn't get as much respect because they didn't have a clue? Our supervisor at Silver Dollar City came out and robbed with us a couple times and was down there often enough that he knew what was happening and how to do it. And so we appreciated that. It makes a huge difference in morale and operations when they have an idea of what's actually involved rather than do it from a distance. So that's kind of a requirement of my deal. They've got to actually be able to work on it and work on it at some point. The perks. Perks work different places. This is not benefits, by the way, like your medical insurance and vacation. Perks are the things they don't have to do, but they do anyways. It's assumed you get free admission for you. I loved what Silver Dollar City did, because all the parks give extra tickets, but Silver Dollar City gave everybody in your immediate family an annual pass because you worked at the park. That was wonderful. You weren't using up your free tickets to get your family in because they could come in whenever. That was really nice, especially when you had kids. Hey, your kids could come into the park while you were working and they could have fun and wait for you. I really liked that. That was wonderful. And then, yes, they all do give extra tickets. The different parks work differently in their communities. Silver Dollar City had an amazing thing with Branson in that we had all these theaters and other attractions in town. Many of them, most of them, we could go to free. We'd call them up, hey, do you have any extra seats left over for tonight? I'm coming from Silver Dollar City. We'd show our ID for the park, and we'd go in and we could take our families in free. Didn't work everywhere, but it was a wonderful benefit. Disney negotiated with a number of places outside where you could get discounts. You just got used to walking up and saying, hey, do you give discounts to Disney cast members or to Silver Dollar City employees? That was wonderful. Busch had it a little bit, not anywhere near as much, but it was nice to be able to go do exchanges. Busch did have an exchange with Universal where you could get into Universal free. That was kind of cool. Having those extras, especially because the jobs are low pay, is a wonderful way to help make up that difference. Pay is a big deal. For me, it's not as big a deal as some because you understand going into a theme park. It is a low paying job. It's a minimum wage job. It's a job that doesn't require advanced training or a college degree or things like that. So it's not going to pay as well. And so all those little perks were wonderful ways to make up for it. I figured in 1 year, I actually went through and tallied up. And my second year at Silver Dollar City, we got over $4,000 worth of theater tickets and attraction admissions and stuff that were just extras. That's a wonderful little extra on top of it. And the nice thing is, because it's not actual pay, it's not compensation, you don't have to claim it for taxes. So those are all really nice. One thing that Silver Dollar City did that was really nice as a perk, my family was allowed to go eat at the employee cafeteria. Now, they could anyway, starting the second year because they were employees as well. But that first year, hey, we're going to be at the park. They could go in and eat breakfast with me before we started the day, or they could have lunch. It was a wonderful little deal. They were supposed to be there with the employee, but the cafeteria was also open to us on our days off. So if we were in the park with our family, we could go eat at the employee cafeteria and take our families in with us. That was really nice. I really like that, just as an extra to say we appreciate you. Those were small ways that help make up for the lower pay and just let them know that they cared. And then there were other extras that some of the parks did. Silver Dollar City actually had a doctor, not on site, it was nearby, but that they paid for. You could go see your doctor free on Silver Dollar City's tab. Whether you have medical insurance or not, you could go see their doctor and not have to pay anything. Your basic doctor visit was completely covered. No copay, no insurance. Hey, you're an employee of Silver Dollar City. You're a family member of a Silver Dollar City employee. We got you covered. Disney did build a medical clinic for their employees over by Epcot. It was free to full-time employees only. But it was limited services, and it was only full-time employees, not part-time, not seasonal, and not family members. It was nice in a way, but for the most part, it was really there for workman's comp and things like that. It really wasn't a full-fledged service, and it could have been. I think they eventually increased it to actually offer full services, but it wasn't the same as Silver Dollar City's, which was an amazing blessing. So that's just a few of the things that I would like to see in the perfect theme park work environment for employees. Do you have others you'd like to see? Let me know. Discounted food, nice break rooms, private bathrooms. Remember the families, let them eat at the cafe with you. Supervisors and managers who work where the employees work so they know what they're doing. The perks around town. Free medical, that was great. Just some things that if I was ever going to run a park, these are the kinds of things I would. So, do you agree with me? Do you disagree? Are there things I missed? Let me know in the comments below. I love to hear your feedback. Don't forget to hit that like button, share it, and subscribe. Thank you so much to my financial supporters for their help. Thank you to my brand new patrons, Keith and Sheila Cook. You gotta tell me how to say your last name and say it right. But thank you so much for signing on, and thank you so much for watching. God bless. Certain things that I liked better as an employee than what would my and all of the perks. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to know about contact information, fan pages, merchandise, and more, please be sure to check the description below. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to know when I have new ones, well, make sure you hit that subscribe button right up there. And if you want to see another one of my videos, well, I've got a great one for you right here. And a huge thank you to these wonderful people here who support me on Patreon and with YouTube memberships. They get behind the scenes information, special perks, and more. If you'd like to know more about that, well, make sure you check that button right there. Thank you so much.